Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Friday, November 21st. A lot of okay matchups this week, but we do have a few key playoff matchups where it's kind of make or break for some of these teams, especially a team like the Kansas City Chiefs going against the Colts, Vikings and Packers. That's very big in the NFC North race. Steelers and Bears just have big implications for the wild card. Steelers maintaining their division lead on the Ravens. And then this Bucs-Rams game on Sunday night should be a lot of fun. A lot of decent matchups. I think a lot of these matchups are going to be blowouts, and we'll talk about those when we get to those. This week, though, obviously previewing upcoming Week 12. NFL Weekly Update, which is going to be very short today. Not a lot of news to really talk about. And then, as always, blind Thursday Night Football recap. And I guess let's just jump right into it. Might as well, anyways. Starting off with NFL Weekly Update here. Browns edge rusher Alex Wright agrees to a 3-year, $33 million deal, 21 of that guaranteed. You might be sitting here, like, who's Alex Wright? Never heard of him. He was a third-round pick back in 2022 out of UAB, and he has blossomed into a productive player for this Browns team. And no, is he some young, promising star that's going to take the league by storm in a couple years? No. But that doesn't really matter. You have Myles Garrett there. Myles Garrett is the star, generational, future Hall of Famer. I mean, just one of the best defensive players ever, probably. You don't need to be that good. And that's exactly what Alex Wright is. He is, I think he's like 6'2", 270, can defend the run really well, can get after the passer. He's just good. And yeah, good players in the NFL make $11 million. Sounds a little insane, but hey, get your bag, get your money, get that money for your family. And yeah, he is a good player for them. It's him and another guy who man that other edge spot for them, and it's working. They're doing their job. They're getting better. Alex is only 25, I believe, just turned 25. So he still has more room to grow. I think he's up to 3 sacks on the year. I think his career high is 5 back in 2023, so he'll probably surpass that mark. Good young player to get locked up. Again, $11 million for your starting edge rusher opposite Myles Garrett. That's very cheap. I know it doesn't sound cheap, but $11 million for a starting pass rusher is very cheap in the NFL. So shout out to Alex Wright. The New Orleans Saints cut Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks just might as well have been retired. I knew he was on the Saints, but was he really on the Saints? Was he really getting involved in this offense? And honestly, now that I'm looking, I do want to see what his stats have been this year, because I can guarantee you that they're not good. But because they cut him, he's now no longer on the Saints roster for me to see. So now I gotta look it up. What has Brandon Cooks done this year? He's played in 10 games, and he has 19 catches for 165 yards. Cool. Brandon Cooks at one point was a really good player. He's had a really interesting career. I think by the end of his career, he will be a Hall of Very Good member for me. But now I guess he gets the chance to sign with a contender and do whatever, just maybe pull a LaShawn McCoy and just be there for a ring and not play. Either way, you do you, Brandon Cooks. I would want out of New Orleans too, and he got his wish. The Jags sign Juan Thornhill after he was released from the Steelers. Cool. Thornhill, former Chief, former Brown. I think he might have won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Either way, was a solid safety at one point. The Steelers, they just have signed a million vet secondary players, and Thornhill, I guess, was the odd man out. I don't know if he'll be productive with the Jags whatsoever, but Juan Thornhill was a name at some point, and I'll talk about him. Another guy here, Jesse Luketa, signs with the Rams. And you might be like, who is Jesse Luketa? How dare you, first of all? Jesse Luketa, Ottawa native, and that's basically all you need to know, and that's the reason why I am talking about him. But in 10 games last year with the Cardinals before getting injured, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, he's a very good athlete, and I'm interested to see how he does with the Rams. I think he's, again, fairly solid. I think, and again, at the end, good special teamer, but Ottawa native. That's what matters. Congrats to Jesse Luketa for continuing to play in the NFL. Very, very cool. The NFL owners have filed a grievance against the NFLPA to stop the annual player report cards. Jets owner Woody Johnson calls them totally bogus. And I understand you, Woody. I'd call them totally bogus, too, if every single year the players just shit on you and your organization. Because, yeah, you are a very, very bad owner. And what these report cards do, if you're unaware, is it basically, they're anonymously filled out by the players, and they rate things kind of like the food, the training rooms, the locker rooms, how the family gets treated on game days, just general things like that. It's just basically you're grading your workplace. And yeah, the Jets every single year grade as one of the lowest teams. Yeah, Woody Johnson just sucks. Woody Johnson sucks as a person, sucks as an NFL owner, and yeah, I would be mad if the dude who like owns the Johnson & Johnson company didn't put in any effort towards how his team was built. And how, again, you're in New York. Well, technically they're in New Jersey, but either way, put money into your team. It's not that hard. It's hard for the Bengals, who just don't, because they're like a family-owned team and always have been, where like they don't have the assets to be able to do that. Woody Johnson has the damn assets. He's just cheap as hell. And it's not like, oh, if you have like one of the best teams, like the Dolphins, every year we score an A+, woo, Stephen Ross, you're a fantastic owner. It doesn't amount to shit on the field, but like, the players are happy at the end of the day. So at least, like, team sucks on the field for the Dolphins, but the players are happy, where the team sucks on the field for the Jets and the players are unhappy. So, sorry, you get what you give, I guess, either way. Those report cards need to happen. The Saints are expected to play a game in Paris as early as 2026. No, we're not talking about Paris, Texas here. We are talking about Paris, France. Kind of shocked they haven't been to a game in France already. But obviously the Saints have their, like, French ties. Used to be a French colony, and obviously they speak a little French down there. It's more Creole than anything. I mean, it is literally Creole, but cool. Good for the Saints. They get to go to France, be one of the first teams there. I hope this is something that the NFL like continues to do with these international games, and I'm sure that they will. I think by 2030 anyways, maybe a little later than that, but it seems like the direction we're going is like every year, every team is going to have at least one international game, and I hope that that happens, because yeah, I know when the Bills used to play in Toronto there, like, it's fun, it's exciting, it gives new fans opportunities to see an NFL game, which they might never have that chance. I would love for them, for like preseason games anyways, for them to like, again, maybe not like show up to like Ottawa or something like that, but I don't know, like go to Alabama, go to Kentucky, go to these like college stadiums and college cities that don't have access to an NFL team, and just go play there. Again, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but that's my 2 cents anyways. And then final note here, Bill Belichick was spotted at his girlfriend's adult cheerleading competition. I have nothing to really talk about this, like, clearly, but I just thought it needed to be said that Bill Belichick was spotted at his girlfriend's adult cheerleading competition. And we can leave it at that, and we can get into this blind Thursday Night Football recap here. It is the Bills at the Texans, and This was your classic Thursday night football slop fest. On one hand, we have the Texans defense, but then Davis Mills still at quarterback. And on the other hand, we have Josh Allen and James Cook in this offensive line, but he's throwing to basically no one. Because Dalton Kincaid, out. Curtis Samuel, out. Mecole Hardman, out. Keon Coleman, out. Not because he's injured, they're just fed up with him, and that's a whole other thing. But this was the classic matchup of movable object versus stoppable force. The Texans defense constantly shows up. I keep saying it's one of the best defenses in the league. Their offense just kind of needs to catch up with them, man. The Bills on the other side, they can run the ball, Josh Allen's Superman, but the passing attack sucks, and that defense is bad. When you have Nick Chubb and Woody Marks kind of running all over you, it's a bad look, and I think this is going to be another year where despite the AFC being all out of whack and the Chiefs might not even making the playoffs, and I think Bills fans thought, when it's like, whoa, the Chiefs might make the playoffs? This might be your year to win the Super Bowl. And I think with that defense, I think this Bills defense is, again, going to be the reason that they probably don't win a Super Bowl this year. At the end of the day, was a low-scoring game. The Texans, again, they kept it close. At the end of the day, final score, Bills 20, Texans 17. That is your blind Thursday night football recap. And let's get into Sunday's games here, starting off with the Vikings and the Packers. Packers -6, total set at 41.5. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and this is going to be a bad game. But on one end, you get the Brian Flores defense going against this very hurt Packers offense. Again, on the offensive line, it's kind of just Zach Tom hanging out by himself now. Josh Jacobs is injured. Tucker Kraft is injured. Jaden Reed is still injured. There's not a lot of things going for this Packers offense, and it will be, again, very tough to play against Brian Flores and his Mad Men blitzing everywhere type stuff that he always does. But lucky for the Packers, on the other side of things, there's J.J. McCarthy. And you want to know what J.J. McCarthy isn't good at? Playing quarterback. You know what position J.J. McCarthy plays? Quarterback. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy is good whatsoever. He has not shown any real promising moments throughout a game. There's been oh, that was a nice pass, or oh, that was a nice run. But consecutive things in a row doesn't really exist. And this offense should, this was a 14 win team last year. And arguably they added in the offseason to make this team even better, and they are just much, much, much worse. And yeah, I would blame quarterback play as honestly the sole reason of why they are so much worse. Now, Packers -6, that seems like a lot. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Vikings will be able to stay within that gap, just because I don't see this Packers offense being able to score that many points just because they're just not a strong unit at the moment. And again, maybe it's Packers -6. It all depends on how many times J.J. McCarthy decides to turn over the ball and whatnot, but going to be a low-scoring game. I think I can almost guarantee that. Next game up here, Colts at Chiefs. Chiefs -3.5. Total set at 49.5. This might be the Chiefs' biggest game that they've had to play in a while anyways. And yes, they've played in AFC championship games and Super Bowls, but they're the playoffs are on the line here, and mathematically, they're technically not on the line. I think that if they lose this game, they still have a 30% chance to make the playoffs, but they essentially have to win out right now. And they have a tough schedule still up ahead, and the Colts are no slouch. The Colts are really good. The Colts are rested coming off a bye. They're getting Charvarius Ward back. Now, all of a sudden, that secondary, Charvarius Ward is the number 1 corner in his own right. But now he's the number 2 corner because they got a guy named Sauce Gardner. And that secondary is going to be better, which allows the pass rush to be better. And the Chiefs have just looked out of sorts over the last few weeks of the season. And I don't know what to expect. I know the Colts are a good team. I know the Colts are really good. It just depends on, is Daniel Jones going to turn the ball over 5 times? If he doesn't turn it over 5 times, they're probably going to win. This Chiefs defense needs to cause a lot of havoc, but unfortunately, I just don't think that they're going to. Unless Chris Jones turns back the clock a little bit and goes off. But again, this Colts offensive line is still good. I don't know where the Chiefs can really break through. This needs to be a Patrick Mahomes vintage game. They need to get Worthy and Rice and Kelsey and Tyquan Thornton, all of their weapons involved. They need to score a bunch of points to win this game, because I don't think their defense will be the reason that they win this game. They need to slow down the Colts somehow, and teams just haven't been able to slow down the Colts. It's a must-win for the Chiefs, though. They have to win this game. If they don't win this game, I never want to say that, the Chiefs are done, but, this is it. They have to win this game here. If they don't win this game, we can talk about it if it happens, but if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, someone needs to get fired. I don't know who, but someone. And we'll keep going here. Patriots at Bengals. Patriots -6. Total set at 51.5. This line has been all over the place. I think it opened up at -5.5 for the Patriots, went all the way to 9.5, and now it's back down to 6. And you might be wondering, why? Because Joe Burrow for the last 2 days has been a full participant in practice. And you also might be wondering, why? I don't know. I don't know why Joe Burrow, why they're rushing to bring him back to a 3-7 team, to a team that needs to win out just to maybe make the playoffs at the end of the day. The Bengals suck. And it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. Again, I think the difference between what Joe Flacco has been doing for this team on offense versus what Joe Burrow is going to do, a little bit of an uptick for Joe Burrow, obviously, but not enough to make it matter. The Bengals have been scoring a shit ton of points. That's not the issue. The defense is the issue. And the defense might literally go down as one of the worst of all time. No team in the Super Bowl era has been last in pass yards allowed, rush yards allowed, and scoring. As of right now, the Bengals are 2 for 3 in those categories, and in the other category, they rank 31st. They might do it. They might do it. This Bengals defense absolutely sucks. And they're playing the Patriots, who, really good. MVP candidate Drake May. The offensive line is good enough, especially against this Bengals defensive line, because they stink. Travion Henderson's been playing really well. I think Ramondre Stevenson's back, but it looks like it's Henderson's backfield anyways. Diggs is playing well. Henry's playing well. Pop Douglas is playing back. They're just good. They're just good everywhere. And, added bonus, no Jamar Chase for the Bengals either. Where, that might be the thing. Chase Higgins, they'll score enough points. But no Jamar Chase means T. Higgins is out there all by himself. And you know who's on the opposite side of him? Christian Gonzalez. And Gonzo is one of the best corners in the league right now. Should be an all-pro. Where, who else is Burrow going to throw to? Andre Yosibas, Michael Tinsley, Mike Gesicki. It's not going to be pretty. I think the Bengals aren't going, unfortunately for Joe Burrow, if he plays, I think this is going to be a game where the offense looks like shit because there's no Jamar Chase out there, and they're just going to key in on what T. Higgins is doing. I don't think this is going to be pretty. I would take the Patriots in this one, absolutely. We'll keep going here. Steelers at Bears. Bears -2.5. Total set at 45.5. A very, very important matchup for both of these teams. Obviously, the Bears to stay ahead in the NFC North divisional race. The Steelers to stay ahead in the AFC North divisional race. But more importantly, Aaron Rodgers has another chance to make Chicago his bitch. And Aaron Rodgers might play. It's undecided yet. He obviously has his slight broken arm, whatever the hell that means. But this is the This is the field where Aaron Rodgers does his most damage. And yes, that's probably Lambeau, but second, it would be Soldier Field in Chicago. He owns the Bears on Sundays, on Mondays, on Thursdays, doesn't matter what time of the day. Aaron Rodgers in Chicago is lethal. And I know that this game just means a little bit more to him, even if he doesn't want to fully admit it. This playing against the Bears and playing against like people who hate him and having one last chance to rub their face in it. I think he wants to. Steelers offense versus Bears defense, though. Again, two not good units going against each other. So I don't really care about that matchup. Where I do care is how the Bears offense looks against the Steelers defense. And the Steelers defense isn't like, oh, they're so good. How's Caleb Williams going to deal with them? But they're a good enough defense where I should be, again, they'll do enough damage. They'll make Caleb work enough to, put some strain on the offense. But I want to see this Bears offense overcome a defense like the Steelers. Because I think the Steelers defense is, fringe top 10, maybe. And this feels like a game where, okay, the Bears, you want us to take it seriously? Beat the Steelers. Don't have this be a close game. Don't have this be you come back just in the last minute. Have this be a decisive victory over a pretty good team. Because we haven't had a lot of the Bears win this one. They look fantastic. It's been a lot of the Bears are winning. And that's good. You have to win in this league in general. But they haven't been winning pretty. I want this to be a pretty win for the Bears. I guess we'll see. Next game up here, Jets at Ravens. Ravens minus 13.5. Total set at 44.5. I don't think I have to spend a lot of time on this one. The Ravens are going to win. Tyrod Taylor back in starting for the Jets. I got nothing. What am I supposed to say? Oh, the Jets, you never know. And this is a get-right game for the Ravens. This is, okay, get back on track, Lamar. Get back on track, defense. Kick the shit out of the Jets. Because who do the Jets have on defense? Absolutely no one. Who do the Jets have on offense? Absolutely no one. This should be the Ravens show why they're the Ravens and are still the Ravens and should still be... And people should still be worried about them as being contenders in the AFC. Where the Jets suck. It is what it is, so we'll just keep going here. Next game up here, Giants at Lions. Lions minus 10, total set at 49.5. Jackson Dart is looking like he's going to play. That's correct, right? Yeah. Jackson Dart back in the mix after coming back from a concussion. However, for him, they're playing the Lions, and Lions who, looked bad. Maybe not bad is the right word, but didn't look good anyways against the Eagles. It was still a one-score game ultimately, but a game that I know that Dan Campbell thinks should have been called better, should have been executed better. And this is also a get-right game for the Lions, where yes, the Giants have been playing decent football. I guess I can say decent football anyways, but yeah, this just feels like a game where Gibbs, Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Monty, the offense gets cooking and the defense does enough anyways to slow down. Again, I don't think it's hard to slow down the Giants at this point. It's Jackson Dart throwing to Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. That should be very, very stoppable. Jackson Dart has been doing his Jackson Dart thing and making a lot of plays, but he's also been through the concussion protocol 4 times now this season. So something's got to give at some point. I feel like the Lions are going to win this one quite easily. Minus 10, I don't know. Seahawks at Titans. Seahawks minus 13. Total set at 40.5. This is going to be another one of these Seahawks games that are over by the end of the first quarter, I think. Seahawks defense is going to have Cam Ward in absolute hell. Sam Darnold, I know, is going to want to have a bounce-back game after his 4-interception performance against the Rams last week. And who better to do it against than the Titans? Again, I never like taking big spreads in general, but The Seahawks coming off a loss, Sam Darnold not playing his best football, having this game against Tennessee just feels like they're going to do it to them, huh? Like, I don't know. I feel like the Titans might score a field goal. Like, I feel like Titans under 7 points feels like a lock. The Titans to not score a touchdown anyways definitely feels like a lock. Again, I think Sam Darnold is going to have a great game, put things back together again. They haven't had like the Rashid Shaheed game since he's been there. They just missed him on a touchdown last week, which was like that close. This is going to be the Rashid Shaheed game. I think I've said this the last couple weeks, but bet his over for longest catch. Bet him to get a touchdown. I don't know what his odds are for getting like 50 yards. I'd bet that too. This is going to be the Rashid Shaheed game. Guaranteed. Maybe not guaranteed, but either way, the Seahawks are going to win this one easy. We'll keep going here. Jags at Cardinals. Jags -3. Total set at 47.5. A big game for the Jaguars where the Cardinals can play spoiler just a little bit here. Where although the Cardinals are 3-7, where it's tough for me because the Cardinals are like nearly in the same tier as the Jags, and the Jags are obviously sitting at 6-4. Far different records and spreads and whatever, but if the Cardinals weren't so goddamn hurt, I think they would have had a much different season. Like because Marv is still out with appendicitis. I mean, I'm not even going to mention Kyler because Jacoby is just better. But if James Conner was there still, if Trey Benson was healthy, if the defense started fully healthy, like I think this would have been a much different season for the Cardinals. But the Jags need to just continue what they've been doing. Build off that big win against the Chargers. Again, they played well for 3 quarters against the Texans. Just need to kind of continue that. And this feels like, again, Liam Cohen, show us why this Jags team is different than previous years. This is a game that they need to win. Again, the wild card race is very, very competitive. They are right there, too, with the Colts, where if the Chiefs win and the Jags win, all of a sudden the Jags are 1 game out of that spot. And I think they play the Colts twice in the division as well. That's going to be very, very big. The Jags need to win this one. The Cardinals, they're playing spoiler. And I think that's all I can really say. But again, I think that Amari DiMercado, yes, he's out. So it's Bam Knight and Michael Carter at running back, and Marv is still out, so Jacoby Brissett's going to be throwing to Michael Wilson again, and Michael Wilson went off. And Trey McBride's obviously still there, but it's hard for me to believe in an offense that is comprised of Jacoby Brissett, Bam Knight, Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride. And Trey McBride's obviously fantastic, like one of the best tight ends in the league, but either way. Next game up here. The game of the week, Browns at Raiders. Raiders -4, total set at 36.5. Raiders -4 is insane. Like, I'm just going to like the flat out say, that makes absolutely no sense to me. Yes, the Browns are terrible. Yes, the Raiders are terrible. But the Browns have an elite defense, one of the best defenses in the league. They have Myles Garrett. And this isn't like the Raiders where I say, the Raiders have Max Crosby. They just have Max Crosby. The Browns still have a bunch of good defensive players elsewhere. Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Carson Schwarzenegger, Alex Wright, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit. They got dudes. Tyson Campbell. They got dudes. They got dudes on this defense. This is a really, really good defense. And you know what? Shador. He finally gets to practice with the ones. What a novel concept. The backup third-string QB. Now that he's thrust into the starting position, he gets reps with the ones. I couldn't believe it. That's just how... Again, the discourse around Sanders is absolutely ridiculous. But this Raiders offense is bad. This Raiders defense is bad. Where this Browns offense is bad. But the Browns defense is really, really good. I don't know why the Raiders are favorites. Again, I can understand it. They're at home. It is what it is. But -4? That sounds crazy. I'm absolutely taking the Browns in this one. I do think that Shador, with a week of practice, with getting, again, Because as much as like I'm joking about it of he's getting reps with the ones finally, but like it does matter. It does matter getting these chemistry with these players, and they have decent players to like throw to. I like Njoku. I like Harold Fannin. I think Quinshon Judkins is a good back. Jerry Judy's still there. Cedric Tillman is solid. Like they have decent enough players anyways, and I'm interested to see what Shedeur can do with his opportunity. Needs to show something here. This is a very winnable game for the Browns. And I'm believing in Shedeur. I'm more believing in Myles Garrett in this defense, but I'm believing in Shedeur. Raiders -4 is absolutely insane. Next game up here, Falcons at Saints. Saints -2.5, total set at 39.5. I missed the game. Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles -3.5, total set at 47.5. I read a stat today, and I forget what it was, and I think it was... I might mess up the numbers here. I know it was only 2 losses, though, but Dak Prescott at home against divisional opponents is like 21-2 in his career. That's really good. That's really, really, really good. And you know what? I like the Cowboys in this game. I do. I don't think that this defense is fixed. I talked about it on Wednesday's show just a little bit, where getting in Quinnen Williams, getting Savone Revel back, adding in Logan Wilson, getting Demario Overshown back. They added in 4 new starters for this defense, on top of getting some guys back from injury and stuff like that, where I do think this Cowboys defense went from very bad to like slightly below average maybe, which again, that's still a huge upgrade. And this offense is still really, really, really good. I'm very interested to see how this offense plays against the Eagles defense, because this Eagles defense, I've been talking about it, they've been playing lights out. Jalen Phillips, since being acquired from them, has been fantastic, and that just hurts me just a little bit. This game feels like an under. I read a high total off for the over. I think I read 47.5. This feels like an under game, because I don't know what the Eagles are doing. I don't know what that offense is doing. Kevin Patullo, just not good at his job. It is what it is. And Lane Johnson is out for the rest of the year for them. That's huge. I don't remember last time like Lane Johnson hasn't been like the Eagles' right tackle. And yeah, like the Cowboys pass rush isn't there. But I think the absence of Lane Johnson on this offensive line is going to be huge and going to be noticeable. Where, yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. We can move on, I guess. Now it's Falcons at Saints. Saints -2.5. Total set at 39.5. It is crazy to me that the Saints team is favored, but it makes sense. They're going against the Falcons with Kirk Cousins at quarterback and Darnell Mooney as wide receiver 1. Drake London is also out in this one, if that wasn't clear. Yeah, these two teams suck. These two teams are bad, but at least one of these teams still has their first round pick. Yeah, the Falcons are bad. Yeah. I had a little bit of hope for like Kirk of like, oh, like maybe he can come in and he can make like the easy throws, do things well. His arm is just cooked. His arm was already like not the best throughout his career, but like he can make the throws that he needed to make. But now he doesn't have like any velocity on any of his throws, and he's also lost a bit of that touch where it's just bad across the board. Like, this needs to be a big Bijan game. This needs to be a big Falcons defense game. Where, again, this Falcons defense is up and down, up and down, up and down. Where they were down last week against the Panthers. So maybe they have a really good game against Tyler Shuck. I have no idea. This game sucks. This game should not be on anyone's TV. Kirk Cousins, Tyler Shuck, one of the worst QB matchups of the year, probably. Yeah, smelly, bad game of the week. Falcons at Saints. Sunday Night Football. Buccaneers at Rams. Rams -7. Total set at 49.5. Rams -7 is a lot. I get it. The Rams are awesome. The Rams are really good. They're playing great on both sides of the ball, where the Buccaneers have been, again, up and down. They've been injured, and they're slowly getting guys back from injury too. But yeah, I think the Rams are going to win. I don't think that that's like, oh, some crazy, like, but they're -7. Of course they're going to win. I do think the Bucs can keep this one close, though. Like, the Bucs are frisky. Is Bucky Irving finally back? Is something finally happening with Bucky Irving? No, they still have Rashad They still have Rashad White still listed as the starter, but I will look up updates on Bucky. He's questionable, but he's still limited as of yesterday. So yeah, I doubt that he's going to play this week. So Rams makes sense there. The Rams obviously want to continue building their lead in the NFC West. Yeah, I don't know. This game, makes sense. I'm excited. It's going to be a good game. Baker Mayfield is always a ton of fun to watch, and getting to see how Tez Johnson operates fully, and watching Tristan Wirfs versus Jared Verse is going to be a very fun matchup to watch. There's a lot of fun matchups to watch in this one anyways, and if you're an NFL fan, you should just appreciate this matchup just for that. And then finally, Panthers at 49ers. 49ers -7, total set at 49.5. This should be a fun game. I expect the CMC revenge game. I don't know if he's actually played the Panthers since he got traded to the Niners. He must have. He's been there for so many years now. But I'm interested to see... Sorry, I'm looking up. No, not Panther stats. Whatever, I'm not going to find it. After last week, I want to see how Bryce Young does in this game. This Niners defense is not good. They're coached really well and they play solid, but they're just lacking the big names to be able to really stop anyone. I mentioned it briefly on Wednesday's episode where Myles Garrett has more sacks than the entire Niners team. And he has more sacks than them by I think it was 15 to 12. So he's ahead of them, kind of. But no, I'm interested to see how Bryce Young and how this Panthers offense does. Because yes, when they're opening it up to Ted and Xavier Leggett and Coker with Dowdle still running the ball, it looks like a fun, really good offense. But we just haven't seen that up until last week. So I'm interested to see what version of the Panthers offense gets put out there. The Panthers obviously need to continue winning games to stay in the hunt for the NFC wildcard. And hey, if the Bucks lose and the Panthers win, I think that they might be in the division lead. That would be crazy too. But the Niners should be able to do what they want on offense. Essentially, again, CMC is having a phenomenal year. Kittle is back. Pearsall is back. Purdy is back. Jawan Jennings is healthy. That offense is just really, really good. Panthers defense, again, has been up and down, but overall, at best, I can say that they're average. And that is at best where, I think this Niners offense is really good. The Panthers are going to need to keep pace. 49.5 seems like a crazy line. Again, it just all depends on what version of the Panthers that we're going to get in this one, but should be a fun-ish Monday Night Football matchup anyways, but I will leave it at that. I got some Woodsman trivia in an hour, but as always, if you have liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff, and until next time, peace.